Welcome to the deep dive. Now, usually we're digging through, piles of reports, dense studies. But today, we're doing something a little different. We're diving deep into just one source. It's this really potent spoken word piece, sort of narrative lyrics that we've been looking at called twinbed.wave.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual for us, just the one source. But it's incredibly rich, isn't it? It really works as this perfect distillation of emotional memory. Takes you on a whole journey.
Right, from past hardship, chaos even, to this very present kind of solitude.
Hmm.
So our mission today, I guess, is to really pull out the core wisdom here, that tension it creates.
Exactly. The tension between that shared, really difficult history and then this individual, almost isolated comfort later on.
Yeah, and it's more than just memory lane, isn't it?
Mhm.
We're looking at nostalgia, sure, but also the value we sometimes put on struggle, maybe surprisingly. And, how looking back shifts what we think was important in relationships.
Definitely. And the piece, it just drops you right in, no messing around. We start on Clark Street in that old apartment.
Instantly sets the scene. And the environment, it's all about the physical limits.
Oh, absolutely. Limits is maybe putting it mildly. I mean, the narrator says, under the stairs is where we stay.
Under the stairs.
Yeah.
And then managing to somehow make a twin bed in a closet where our dreams are made.
Yeah.
I mean, just visualize that. A closet.
It's so specific. And it wasn't just the two of them squeezed in there, remember?
No, that's the other detail. One bedroom, 5 roommates, 5.
Yeah. I mean, talk about density. That's extreme. It sounds like a recipe for constant friction.
Totally. A pressure cooker, like you said before we started.
Yeah.
But here's the twist, right? The paradox the narrator throws in almost immediately.
That's the core of it, really. Sets the whole emotional tone. Despite all that, despite the days being objectively tough, having each other, that made everything all right.
Which is just, wow. We really need to unpack how someone gets there. From 5 roommates in a closet bed to everything's all right.
Let's do it, because those details of the struggle, they're key.
Okay, so the narrative doesn't just say poor. It gives these really visceral images of instability. They were young and broke, sure,
Yeah, the classic starting point.
but also no direction, just a glimmer of hope. That lack of direction, that feels just as important as the lack of money, maybe more so.
I think so too. It adds this layer of existential uncertainty on top of the material hardship and the instability. It's baked into the place itself, isn't it? Like that detail about the kitchen cupboards.
Oh, the cupboards, yeah, barely shut. And the clincher, painted 5 times or more.
Right. Does that detail strike you as much as it struck me, the 5 layers of paint?
Tell me why it stands out for you. What's the significance there?
Well, I mean, it's just such a perfect visual for superficial fixes, right? You're not fixing the broken cover.
Or just painting over it again.
Exactly. Covering up the problem repeatedly, it feels like a metaphor for how they were maybe getting by day to day, patching things up just enough to survive.
Wow, yeah.
But even with all that, the constant papering over the cracks, the one thing that wasn't negotiable, the thing holding it together, was the connection.
Which is where that line comes in. Through the chaos and the fights, we held on tight.
Yes, that holding on.
It almost sounds like that environment, the sheer difficulty of it, acted as a filter. Like you couldn't fake it in that situation.
No way. 5 roommates, 1 closet bed. Your commitment had to be absolute or you just implode.
Right.
And the narrator, they don't shy away from the chaos. It's not just hinted at. We get these specific, almost dramatic events.
Yeah, they become like milestones in their story, don't they? Not just
Yeah.
bad days.
Exactly. Markers of survival. They weren't avoiding conflict. They were right in the middle of it. Some pretty intense stuff.
Like getting punched in the face over a bottle of tequila?
Yeah.
That's pretty raw. Speaks volumes about the tension.
It really does. That specific, messy kind of conflict that just explodes in cramped, stressful shared living. And then there's the other bit, smashing into the wall. Yeah. It felt like a bad novella.
Huh. Like a bad soap opera. You can almost picture it. Just sheer, uncontrolled drama.
Total chaos. But here's the fascinating part. The narrative takeaway isn't, it was awful because of the fights.
No, it's almost the opposite.
Right. The conflict wasn't a bug. It was a feature. It was part of the bonding.
Okay, so help me understand that. How does surviving that specific, messy tequila fight, how does that build connection more than, say, just peaceful coexistence.
Well, I think it goes back to that idea of the relationship as a crucible,
Yeah.
a place of intense heat that refines something.
Okay.
In those moments, like the fight, you're forced into interdependence. There's nowhere to retreat. One bedroom, remember, 5 people.
Right. No escape.
You have to deal with it. You have to resolve it, lean on each other. You have to show up. And surviving it proves the commitment outweighs the drama. That's why the partner's smile was the key that opened every door.
Because that smile meant stability, forgiveness, even amidst the novella-level chaos.
Precisely. It reframes everything. The chaos isn't a negative. It's the backdrop against which their bond was forged. It proved its strength.
It makes the relationship itself feel like the achievement.
Yes. And that struggle, maybe paradoxically, gave them this sense of profound freedom, looking back anyway.
Right, the hindsight view.
They were free, wild, living on a prayer, all those classic rock and roll tropes, but lived out. They had no money, no plans. But the kicker is, but we didn't care.
That didn't care part is huge. It sets up the whole value system of that past life. Material lack didn't matter because the shared purpose, the intensity was everything.
Overwhelmingly so,
Yeah.
which, of course, makes the contrast later just incredibly stark.
Yeah, it really sets the stage for that emotional whiplash in the second half. We have to leave Clark Street, we shift to the present, and it's all symbolized by one thing, really.
The bed. It's all about the bed.
Yeah.
We go from that twin bed in a closet
Shared dream, shared space.
to a California king alone. The upgrade is material, financial, undeniable success on one level.
But the emotional cost hits you immediately. That empty space.
It's stark. The narrator is materially successful, no question, but feeling lost in this big bed without you.
And this is where the narrative really turns to you, the listener, right? It poses that question about your own life, your own journey.
Yeah. What's the real cost of success? Is being alone in comfort somehow worse than maybe even the joy of shared struggle?
And the piece doesn't leave it ambiguous, does it? It gives a clear answer.
No ambiguity at all, which is why it hits so hard. The preference is explicit. I'd rather be in that dream bed with you instead.
The dream bed, not the expensive California king. The dream was the tiny twin in the closet.
Amazing, isn't it? So if we break down that symbolism.
Okay, yeah, the twin bed.
Yeah.
It's intimacy, right?
Yeah.
Forced closeness, shared vulnerability, a shared mission, even making dreams there.
Making dreams together. It was incredibly tough, but crucially, our love was true. They were physically close, had to be in sync, no choice.
Then the California king symbolizes what? Success, obviously.
Yeah.
Space, adulthood, maybe, stability.
All of that. But in this context, it mostly symbolizes the lack of connection. Absence. The sheer size of it emphasizes who isn't there. The narrator isn't just alone. They're lost in the evidence of their success.
Lost in the square footage. Wow, so that space, that status symbol, it almost becomes an indictment.
Yeah, it feels like it. The emptiness makes the narrator feel like this supposedly better life feels so wrong.
Which makes you wonder, is this just standard nostalgia? Missing someone? Or is it something deeper, like maybe realizing that prioritizing the material stuff actually damaged the thing that mattered most?
I think that's the crucial distinction here, because normal nostalgia, it often smooths out the rough edges. We forget the fights, the peeling paint.
Right, rose-tinted glasses.
But this narrator remembers the specifics, the tequila fight, the cupboards, and still says, I'd rather have that.
That's powerful.
It suggests they're not just missing the person, they're missing the feeling of being needed, the shared mission, the interdependence that defined them back then.
The love was tangled up with the struggle. Maybe it needed the struggle.
It seems like it was forged in it, yeah. Overcoming together was the point.
And the narrative loops back, doesn't it? It really locks in that core idea for you. Despite how rough things were, having each other made everything all right. Full stop.
The physical misery of Clark Street, it's completely reframed in hindsight, romanticized even, because it was the test their bond passed.
The crucible.
Exactly. It just hammers home that idea. Shared experience, shared struggle often outweighs material comfort by a mile. And those details, the 5 roommates, the paint, the fights, they're not evidence of a bad time. They're proof.
Proof that the connection survived. Proof of success, in a way.
The deepest kind of success, maybe. They proved the love was strong enough for the crucible, but the moment that external struggle disappeared,
Yeah.
what happened?
The relationship lost its defining pressure, its structure, leaving the narrator alone, even in luxury.
Yeah. It raises a really interesting point about how relationships function, doesn't it? When a couple is fighting the world together, poverty, instability, landlords, whatever, they're unified, facing outward,
A team against the odds.
Right. But once those external fights are won, once things get comfortable, the focus has to turn inward. And suddenly, the relationship itself has to carry all the weight, fill all that space.
Which can be its own kind of challenge.
Yeah.
A much quieter, maybe harder one.
Definitely. So here's maybe the final thought, the provocative bit for you to take away.
Okay, let's hear it.
Based on this story, if that intense, true, interdependent love really thrived in the chaos and the closeness of that tiny twin bed,
Yeah.
what does it take for a relationship to feel just as fulfilling, just as vital when you finally get the peace and quiet, the sheer space of the California king?
So the nature of the connection has to change entirely.
It seems like it. The battle shifts. When the physical struggle is gone, you're not forced together anymore. You have to build that closeness intentionally, actively, in the absence of necessity.
Building closeness when you don't have to anymore. That's something to chew on. Something for you to think about next time you're reflecting on your own past struggles and maybe your present comforts. What's the real price? What really connects you?
Living on Clark Street in that old apartment, under the stairs is where we stayed. A twin bed in a closet where our dreams are made. One bedroom, 5 roommates, you to hold through the night. We had each other and that made everything alright. Days were rough, we were young and broke. No direction, just a glimmer of hope. Through the chaos and the fights, we held on tight, we held on tight. I'd rather be in that twin bed with you. Instead I'm in this California king alone. Those days were tough, but our love was true. Now I'm lost in this big bed without you. Got punched in the face over a bottle of tequila, smashed into the wall, felt like a bad novella. Cupboards barely shut, painted 5 times or more, but your smile was the key that opened every door. Just a glimmer of hope through the chaos and the fights. We held on tight, we held on tight. I'd rather be in that twin bed with you. Instead I'm in this California king alone. Those days were tough, but our love was true. Now I'm lost in this big bed without you. We were free, we were wild, we were living on a prayer. No money, no plans, but we didn't care. As long as we were together, we could face any storm. Now I'm here without you, and it feels so wrong. I'd rather be in that twin bed with you. Instead I'm in this California king alone. Those days were tough, but our love was true. Now I'm lost in this big bed without you. On Clark Street, in that old apartment, under the stairs we stayed. A twin bed in a closet where our dreams